The stars were quiet that night, but not for long. Far away from Earth, the human colony on Orion Station shivered under the approach of something massive. Hundreds of alien ships, like dark moving mountains, stretched across the black sky. Their lights glowed in strange colors, green, violet, and blue, pulsing as if alive. Every human on the command bridge held their breath, fear rising like fire in their chests. The aliens had never shown mercy before, and now, they came in full force. Captain Elena Ward stood at the front, her hands gripping the railing. Her eyes scanned the alien formation through the massive observation window. "They're slowing down," she whispered, almost to herself. Officers around her looked puzzled. The fleet was enormous, yet it wasn't moving as fast as it should. Something was strange, but none of them could name it. Then it appeared. Small. Fragile. Alone. A single human vessel floated toward the alien fleet. It was nothing compared to the massive alien ships, no bigger than a fishing boat in the ocean of stars. Its surface was scratched and worn, but it moved with calm precision, cutting through space without fear. The alien ships stopped. Every one of them. The massive formation froze like it had hit an invisible wall. Sensors went haywire. Screens blinked red warnings that no one understood. Some officers gasped. Some whispered prayers. The aliens didn't just stop, they seemed afraid. "Why is it not attacking?" Lieutenant Ramos asked, his voice shaking. "It's just one ship." Elena didn't answer immediately. She felt something deep in her bones, something she couldn't explain. The air on the bridge felt heavier, thick with tension. "Keep your eyes on it," she said finally. "Don't move. Don't fire. Let's see what it does." The human vessel moved closer to the alien flagship. Its engines made no sound, yet it left a faint blue trail, like smoke in zero gravity. Inside, the pilot sat completely still. Nothing about them screamed danger, yet every alien system that tried to scan it failed. The signals bounced back scrambled and weak. Inside the alien flagship, alarms blared too, but they were different. Alien voices, sharp and metallic, whispered to each other in panic. The fleet had never reacted like this before. Usually, they attacked first and asked questions later. Now, they trembled, unsure, almost respectful. Back on Orion Station, Elena and her officers leaned closer to their screens. One scientist tapped her keyboard rapidly, analyzing the alien energy patterns. "Captain, it's emitting something unusual. A frequency we can't read. It disrupts their weapons and shields. I've never seen anything like this." Ramos swallowed hard. "You mean, this one ship could stop all those aliens?" The scientist didn't answer. She just stared, wide-eyed. Outside, the lone human vessel kept moving, steady and calm. Its lights glowed softly, pulsing gently, as if it breathed. Every alien ship seemed frozen, waiting for something. Elena finally spoke. "It's not just a ship. Whoever is inside, they are something else. Something they fear." The human vessel drifted closer still, now in the heart of the alien formation. Sensors showed no weapons, no shields firing, nothing aggressive. Yet, the aliens stayed silent, their fleet like a statue army. The tension in the command center was unbearable. Every human present felt it, the impossible, terrifying power in that small vessel. Suddenly, the ship's engines pulsed again, brighter this time. The alien ships shivered, adjusting positions nervously. One massive battleship tried to scan the human vessel directly, but its systems went dead instantly. Screens flashed error after error. The crew panicked, banging buttons, trying to regain control. But the human ship didn't change course. It moved slowly, deliberately, like a predator circling its prey. On the bridge, Elena took a deep breath. "We are witnessing something historic," she said quietly. "That human, they are not just brave. They are legendary." The alien fleet remained still, their massive forms casting shadows over Orion Station. For a moment, time seemed to stop. Humans and aliens alike watched the lone ship, unable to believe what they saw. Fear, awe, and curiosity mixed in equal parts. No one could guess what would happen next. The human vessel moved closer to the alien flagship, the distance closing slowly. Inside, the pilot's eyes reflected faint light from the controls. They did not speak. They did not act aggressively. And yet, every alien ship knew, without words, that this human was dangerous. Deadly dangerous. Elena felt a chill. She didn't know what the pilot planned. She didn't know if they would negotiate, attack, or disappear in a blink. All she knew was that history had changed. One human ship had appeared, and somehow, the most powerful alien fleet in known space had stopped everything it was doing. Silence filled the bridge. The kind of silence that makes a heartbeat loud. Every officer held their breath, staring at the lone vessel. Outside, in the endless stars, the future waited. The human pilot kept moving forward, calm, unafraid, carrying with them a secret no one could yet understand. And for the first time in centuries, humans and aliens alike realized something extraordinary had arrived. Something that could change everything. The human vessel moved silently through the frozen alien fleet. Outside, the massive ships glimmered like mountains in the void, but none dared to move closer or fire a weapon. On Orion Station, every human watched through their screens, eyes wide, hearts racing. Inside the human ship, the pilot's hands rested lightly on the controls. They did not speak. They did not hesitate. Yet, the air seemed to hum with power, a quiet presence that made even the largest alien ships pause. Small flickers of energy ran along the vessel's hull, almost like a heartbeat, subtle but steady. Back on the alien flagship, alien leaders gathered in a circular chamber. Their shapes shimmered and twisted in ways humans could barely understand. They communicated in low, sharp tones, words vibrating directly into each other's minds. Panic and confusion ran through their ranks. No fleet had ever approached them like this before. No being had ever stopped them with mere presence. One alien, taller than the rest, raised a trembling limb. Its voice, though strange to human ears, carried a mix of fear and reverence. "It is one of them. The feared ones." Other aliens shivered. "Impossible. It cannot be. How can a single human hold such power?" On Orion Station, scientists tried to make sense of it all. Screens showed energy readings that jumped and twisted unpredictably. The small human vessel emitted a strange field, neither weapon nor shield, yet completely effective. Every attempt to measure it failed. The scientists exchanged worried glances. "It's like it controls space itself," one whispered. Lieutenant Ramos leaned closer to the main screen. "Captain, look at their ships. They're moving, but slowly, carefully, like they're afraid of making a mistake." Elena nodded. "Yes. But why? It's just one human. How can one person scare an entire fleet?" No one had an answer. The human pilot kept moving closer, drifting past alien warships that had hundreds of weapons ready. Yet, not one gun fired. Not one beam of energy flared. It was as if the pilot commanded silence itself. Suddenly, the small vessel emitted a pulse, faint but visible on sensors. Alien ships trembled, systems flickered, and one of the massive cruisers slowed abruptly, almost bowing to the lone human ship. On Orion Station, the command center gasped. "It's controlling them," someone muttered. Inside the human ship, a soft glow surrounded the pilot. Their eyes reflected the lights from the controls, calm and determined. They were not afraid. Not even slightly. And somehow, that calm spread outward. Humans watching felt a strange sense of awe, while the aliens felt fear deep in ways they could not name. One of the alien leaders moved closer to the control panel on their bridge. "Send the warning," it said finally. "We cannot engage. Not yet." Other aliens whispered in panic. "It's too powerful. We must retreat." The human vessel continued forward, steady and deliberate. Its small frame seemed insignificant, Yet every alien ship paused, waited, obeyed some invisible law. It was as if the universe itself bent around this one human, giving them space, giving them power. Ramos turned to Elena. Captain, what if it's not just technology? What if the human is something else entirely? Something beyond anything we've seen? Elena didn't answer immediately. She could feel it too, a weight pressing against her chest. Humans were small, fragile. But this pilot, this human was different. Stronger, smarter, and somehow untouchable. We'll find out soon enough, she said quietly, her eyes never leaving the screen. The small vessel drifted toward the alien flagship, now close enough that human sensors could see its surface details. Marks, scratches, and faint energy lines ran across its hull. The ship was simple, not flashy, but every line seemed purposeful, designed for something more than just flight. Outside, the alien ship seemed almost alive with anxiety. Some twisted in strange ways, others lowered shields slightly, as if showing respect or fear. Human observers whispered to each other. Do they understand it's one human? One vessel? How? Inside the pilot ship, nothing changed. Calm. Focus. Power. The vessel's pulse grew stronger, faint waves radiating outward, making alien systems stutter and glitch. The alien flagship trembled slightly. The command center on Orion Station held its breath. Then, a sudden transmission came through the alien fleet. It was not words humans could understand. No language could translate the sound. It was raw emotion, fear, awe, confusion, and respect, all rolled into one. The fleet stopped completely, engines powering down partially. The message was clear: do not proceed. Do not attack. The pilot's eyes flicked briefly to the view screen, seeing the frozen alien formation. No fear. No hesitation. Just understanding. They did not need to fight. They did not need to threaten. Their presence alone was enough to stop the most dangerous fleet in known space. Elena whispered, almost to herself. It's impossible. And yet, it's happening. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Humans and aliens alike watched the lone vessel, knowing that history was changing. One human in one small ship had done what no army, no weapon, no fleet could do. Command silence, demand respect, and create awe. The vessel moved closer to the alien flagship, the distance shrinking. The alien ships remained still, obedient to some force they could not resist. On Orion Station, humans watched, hearts pounding, wondering, who was this human? And what would they do next? The stars were quiet again, but only for a moment. Something extraordinary was in motion. Something that would change the fate of humanity forever. The alien flagship shuddered, though no weapons fired. Inside, the alien council was in chaos. Sharp-edged forms twisted nervously, voices vibrating in low, metallic tones. It is not a ship, one hissed. It is a being. Dangerous beyond reckoning. Other aliens whispered, almost afraid to speak. How can one human possess such power? We are thousands, and yet. Their words trailed off. Outside, their fleet remained frozen, engines quiet, weapons inactive. Every alien system that tried to scan the human vessel failed, crashing with error codes that no one could understand. Back on Orion Station, humans were still watching. The command center was tense, every officer glued to their screens. Captain, they are scared, Lieutenant Ramos said. I've never seen an alien fleet hesitate like this. Elena nodded slowly. It's more than fear. They respect, or maybe they recognize something. Something they cannot fight. Inside the lone human vessel, the pilot remained calm, eyes steady on the alien flagship. Their ship hummed softly, emitting faint pulses that interfered with alien sensors and systems. The pulses were not weapons, they were warnings. Signals that told the aliens, without words, stop, or face consequences they could not imagine. On the alien flagship, one of the younger leaders tried to override the fleet's pause. Attack! It ordered. Its voice cut sharply across the telepathic network. Immediately, the ship nearest the human vessel powered its weapons. Energy beams charged and glowed with dangerous intensity. Then, the human vessel pulsed again. A soft, blue wave of energy radiated outward, washing over the alien ship like invisible hands. The massive weapon systems powered down. The energy disrupted their shields, their targeting systems, everything. The smaller ship, vulnerable and seemingly fragile, had just controlled the biggest warship the galaxy had ever built. The alien council froze, their bodies vibrating with panic. "Impossible," one screeched. "It is a human. Just one human." Ramos leaned closer to the screen. "Captain, it's controlling them. Their technology, it's like it obeys the human vessel." Elena swallowed hard. "Yes. And whatever it is, it's alive. Not just a machine. Something about the human, something we can't see, is forcing their obedience." The human vessel drifted closer still, now only a few kilometers from the alien flagship. From their ship, the pilot sent out another pulse. This one was stronger, broader. Alien ships quivered. Systems glitched, shields flickered. The flagship itself trembled as if acknowledging the human's authority. Inside Orion Station, scientists whispered in awe. "It's emitting something like a command," one said. "Not sound, not energy. It's a presence. It affects everything around it." Ramos glanced at Elena, disbelief written across his face. One human, controlling thousands of alien ships. This is impossible. Elena did not answer. She felt the weight of history pressing down on them all. "Keep watching. Don't intervene. Let's see what it does next." The aliens tried to communicate again, sending pulses across the network. Their voices were tense, almost desperate. "Who is this human?" one hissed. "What have we awakened?" The answers were unclear, but the emotion was obvious. Fear, respect, and confusion. The human vessel hovered calmly in the middle of the alien fleet. Its soft pulse spread outward, subtle but undeniable. Some alien ships shifted slightly, lowering shields as if bowing, giving space, acknowledging a power they could not challenge. Back on the human bridge, Elena leaned over the railing. "We are witnessing something no one has ever seen before. One human, one vessel, and the strongest alien fleet in known space obeys, or fears, it. This is unprecedented." The human pilot's eyes flicked briefly to the observation screen. There was no anger, no aggression, only purpose. The aliens understood instinctively that they could not harm this human, and yet they could not leave. They were caught in the human's orbit, bound by some force neither science nor technology could explain. Then, without warning, the human vessel slowed slightly, drifting closer to the flagship. Every alien ship shivered, systems flickering, engines whining as though resisting the pull. For a moment, silence filled the universe, heavy and suffocating. Ramos whispered, "Captain, what is it doing?" Elena watched, heart pounding. "It's not attacking. Not yet. It's testing them. Waiting. We are about to see the first real response." The human vessel emitted a pulse, stronger this time, sending vibrations through the alien network. Ships that had begun to move cautiously froze again. Some began retreating slightly, unsure of what to do. Others attempted scans, but the data was useless. The human presence nullified their technology, made it meaningless. On Orion Station, the crew stared in stunned silence. "It's controlling them without weapons," one muttered. "It's just there, and they obey." The pilot's calm presence radiated outward, unshakable and certain. Humans and aliens alike could feel it. Power beyond comprehension, authority that did not need to be spoken, strength that did not need to be shown. And in that moment, everyone understood, the human vessel was not just a ship. It was a warning, a symbol, a force unlike anything the galaxy had ever encountered. One human alone had stopped an entire fleet. History had changed forever. The galaxy had just learned that humans were not just fragile creatures in the dark. They were capable of something extraordinary, something the aliens had never expected. And the human vessel was only beginning. Inside the lone human vessel, everything was calm. The cockpit was small but efficient, filled with soft lights that pulsed in rhythm with the ship's energy. The pilot's hands rested lightly on the controls. Their eyes, sharp and steady, reflected the faint glow of the instruments. Nothing about them suggested fear, yet the power they carried was impossible to ignore. Outside, the alien fleet remained frozen, engines quiet, weapons idle. From the observation screens, the aliens appeared almost alive with tension. Their massive ships trembled, systems glitching with every subtle pulse from the human vessel. The pilot had not fired a single weapon, had not shouted commands, and yet the fleet obeyed, or at least hesitated in ways that defied reason. Back on Orion Station, Elena and her officers could barely look away from the screens. Lieutenant Ramos muttered, "Captain, I still can't believe it. One human and the alien fleet, they're frozen. Completely." Elena's eyes narrowed. "It's more than that, Lieutenant. Look closely. It's not just fear. They are recognizing something. Something they can't fight, can't understand." The human pilot shifted slightly, leaning forward. A soft hum filled the cockpit, subtle but steady. It wasn't noise, exactly, it was a vibration, a signal. Sensors on Orion Station showed the energy spreading in waves, almost like a heartbeat. Alien ships shook, shields flickered, and some engines whined as if struggling to resist. Inside the alien flagship, chaos erupted. The council twisted in confusion and fear, voices sharp and metallic. "It is not a ship," one screeched. "It is a human. One human. How can this be?" Another alien, older and taller, moved forward. Its limbs trembled, almost bowing. "They are extraordinary. They are the one our legends warned of. The one who commands without weapons." The council murmured, a mix of panic and reverence spreading through the fleet. On Orion Station, the command center was silent except for the faint hum of the ship. Scientists stared at their screens, baffled. "Captain, the energy field, it's not technology alone," one whispered. "It's something else. Something inside the human." Ramos shook his head. "You mean, the human has power? Real power? Not weapons, not shields?" Elena didn't answer immediately. She felt it too, the strange pull of authority radiating from the small vessel. "Yes," she said quietly. "And whatever it is, it's alive. It's inside them, and it's stronger than anything we've seen." The pilot's eyes flicked briefly to the view screen, taking in the frozen alien formation. They did not smile, did not shout, did not fire. Yet every alien ship seemed to sense their presence, to respond to it, almost instinctively. The larger the ship, the more it hesitated, as if understanding that this human could destroy them without effort. Then, the pilot pressed a small lever, and the cockpit lights pulsed brighter. A ripple spread outward through the human vessel's hull and into space. Alien ships shuddered under the invisible wave, shields flickering violently. Engines hummed and groaned. Some smaller alien ships began to drift backward slightly, as if bowing in recognition. On Orion Station, the command crew gasped. They're controlling them." Ramos whispered. "How is that possible?" Elena shook her head slowly. "It's not control. Not exactly. It's presence. Authority. Something they feel deep in their systems, deep in their minds. They cannot resist it." Inside the human vessel, the pilot leaned back slightly, calm and focused. Their hands hovered over the controls, but they were not pressing anything. The ship moved as if alive, responding to thoughts, not commands. Every system, every pulse, every subtle motion reinforced the same message: do not attack. The alien flagship tried one last scan. Massive sensors flared, beams of light cutting through space, searching for the source of the power. For a moment, the human vessel's hull glowed brighter. The scan failed instantly, bouncing signals back into the flagship in scrambled, unreadable data. One of the alien council members screamed, a sound that shook the metallic walls of the ship. The aliens had never faced this before. They had weapons that could destroy planets. They had fleets that could crush continents. Yet here was one human, calm and silent, and suddenly, all of it seemed meaningless. Outside, the lone vessel hovered at the center of the alien formation. Its pulse continued, rhythmic and steady, not aggressive, not threatening. And yet, the aliens understood it perfectly. This human was the one who decided the outcome. They could not fight, could not escape, could not predict. They could only wait. Elena leaned over the railing, whispering to herself. We are watching history, Lieutenant. One human, in one vessel, and the galaxy is listening. Ramos swallowed hard, his eyes glued to the screen. What do we do if it acts? If it attacks? Elena shook her head slowly. We don't know. We just watch. We learn. And we hope it's on our side. The stars around them were quiet, except for the soft hum of the lone vessel. Calm, steady, unstoppable. The human pilot's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light, reflecting a determination that no one, human or alien, could question. And far across the void, the alien fleet waited, unsure, afraid, and yet powerless. One human had appeared, and the galaxy had stopped to watch. The first contact was not words. It was presence. And the universe had felt it. The human vessel floated at the center of the alien formation, calm and unyielding. Its soft blue glow pulsed rhythmically, a heartbeat in the darkness of space. For a long moment, nothing happened. The aliens remained frozen, engines humming faintly, weapons idle. Every sensor in their fleet struggled to process the presence of the lone human ship. Then, the human vessel emitted a signal. It was not sound, not words, not a weapon. It was a pulse of energy, subtle and precise, weaving through space like a whisper. The alien ships quivered, shields flickering, engines groaning under the invisible pressure. One massive cruiser tried to shift position, but it halted halfway, trembling as if some invisible hand held it in place. On Orion Station, the command center held its breath. Scientists stared at the monitors, trying to understand the readings. Captain, it's communicating, one whispered. But, not like language. It's controlling their reactions. Ramos leaned closer. You mean it's telling them what to do without speaking? Elena nodded slowly. It's commanding them, but not by force. By presence. By authority. It's unbelievable. Inside the human vessel, the pilot's hands hovered lightly over the controls. Eyes calm and focused, they sent out another pulse, slightly stronger this time. Alien ships shifted in response. Shields lowered slightly, weapons stopped charging, and some engines moved in what looked like deference. The largest warship in the formation groaned as its systems struggled to respond. Inside the alien flagship, chaos erupted. The council twisted and shivered, communicating telepathically in sharp, metallic tones. It commands without speaking. One human, how? Impossible, screeched another. We are thousands. Our weapons could destroy a planet in minutes. Yet, they could not act. Every attempt to override, every system they powered up, faltered under the human presence. The pilot's calm radiated outward like an invisible barrier. One by one, alien ships seemed to recognize the truth. They were powerless before this single human vessel. On Orion Station, scientists and officers whispered among themselves. Captain, if it can do this now, what happens if it wants to fight? Ramos asked, his voice low. We would have no idea how to stop it. Elena shook her head. I don't think it wants to fight. Not yet. It's testing them. Sending a warning. A message they cannot ignore. The pilot pressed a small button on the control panel. A soft pulse rippled outward, spreading through the alien fleet like a wave. The effect was immediate. Ships that had tried to move now froze again, shields fluctuating, engines whining. The flagship itself shivered as the pulse reached it, systems glitching and sparking. In the alien council, one of the older leaders raised a trembling limb. It is not a weapon. Not exactly. It is authority, presence. They are commanding us without attacking. They are one of the legends. Other aliens whispered nervously, their metallic voices vibrating with fear and awe. We cannot fight. We cannot resist. We obey. The human vessel moved slightly closer to the alien flagship, steady and deliberate. Every pulse, every flicker of light from its hull seemed to speak without words. Do not attack, do not resist. And the alien fleet obeyed, almost instinctively. On Orion Station, Elena whispered, it's not using weapons. It doesn't need to. It is controlling their actions simply by being there. One human has stopped an entire alien fleet. Ramos shook his head, disbelief written across his face. This is beyond anything we've seen. They aren't just powerful. They're something else. Something beyond comprehension. The pilot's eyes reflected the soft glow of the control panels. Calm. Focused. Determined. There was no anger, no hatred, no desire for destruction. And yet, every alien ship responded to their presence. One by one, ships that had prepared to attack now lowered their defenses. Others drifted slightly backward, creating space. The largest battleship trembled as if bowing. Then, a soft wave of energy spread outward, almost like a whisper in the dark. Alien sensors picked it up, systems faltered, and the fleet began to move in unison, not forward, not to attack, but in subtle alignment with the human vessel. It was a warning, a signal, a demonstration of authority unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The stars around them were quiet, but the effect was undeniable. Humans and aliens alike felt it. Power radiated from the vessel, not destructive power, but absolute control. One human alone had shifted the behavior of thousands of ships, an entire alien fleet, without firing a single shot. Elena exhaled slowly. We are witnessing history, she said, almost to herself. One human, in one vessel, and the strongest fleet in the galaxy obeys, or fears, it. This is unprecedented. Ramos's voice was barely audible. Captain, what happens next? Elena shook her head, her eyes never leaving the screen. We wait. And we watch. Whatever comes next, the galaxy has never seen anything like this human. The pilot's vessel hovered in the middle of the alien fleet, calm, unyielding, unstoppable. A single pulse, a single presence, had changed everything. And the universe knew it. The human vessel hovered at the heart of the alien formation. Its soft blue glow pulsed steadily, like a calm heartbeat in the cold darkness of space. Alien ships remained frozen for a moment longer, engines humming faintly, weapons idle. Then, slowly, almost hesitantly, they began to move, but not forward, not in attack. They shifted position, giving space, lowering shields, adjusting as if following some invisible rule. Inside the alien flagship, the council twisted nervously. It is alive, one hissed. It is not just a machine. It commands. Other aliens whispered, metallic voices vibrating with fear. One human, one ship, and they obey. The idea was impossible. Thousands of ships, countless weapons, entire fleets meant to crush worlds. And they all listened, not out of loyalty, but out of fear, respect, or something far stranger. On Orion Station, Elena and her officers stared at the screens. Lieutenant Ramos muttered, Captain, they are obeying it. Every single one. It's incredible. Elena didn't answer immediately. She could feel the weight of it too, the subtle pressure radiating from the small vessel. It's more than obedience, she said slowly. It's authority. Pure authority. And the aliens know it. Inside the human vessel, the pilot leaned slightly forward. Their eyes were calm, focused. They pressed a small button, sending another pulse outward. This one was stronger, wider. Alien ships trembled under it, shields flickering, engines whining. One of the massive warships rotated slowly, bowing slightly in a gesture the human could not see but the aliens understood perfectly. Back on Orion Station, scientists watched the data flood in. "Captain, it's controlling them. Not with weapons. Not with threats. Just presence. And a signal they cannot resist." Ramos shook his head. One human, commanding an entire alien fleet. "I can't even imagine it." Elena leaned over the railing. "We don't need to imagine. We are seeing it." The alien fleet began to shift more decisively. Some ships started retreating slowly, engines powering down slightly, while others maintained position around the lone human vessel, almost as if forming a protective cordon. The message was clear: the human could advance or retreat, and the fleet would obey without question. Inside the alien flagship, one of the council members cried out, its metallic voice shaking. "We cannot fight. We obey. This human, they are the one from our legends. The one we were warned about." Other aliens nodded, their bodies trembling. "It is not a threat we can fight. Not with weapons, not with tactics. One human controls everything." Outside, the lone vessel continued its slow advance toward the alien flagship. Its pulse spread wider now, the glow brighter, radiating calm authority that reached every corner of the fleet. Ships shifted subtly, engines whining as if under gentle pressure. Some lowered shields, others adjusted formation. The alien fleet had no choice but to respond. On Orion Station, Elena whispered, "It's asserting dominance without firing a shot. One human, one ship, and the galaxy obeys." Ramos leaned closer, voice low. "But why? What makes it so powerful? How can one person have this influence?" Elena's eyes never left the screen. "That we will find out soon." Inside the human vessel, the pilot's pulse intensified, but still calm, still controlled. The alien fleet reacted immediately. Weapons powered down entirely, shields lowered fully, and ships slowly began drifting backward, creating an open space around the human vessel. Every movement was synchronized, almost respectful. The flagship shuddered slightly, systems glitching under the presence of the human. The council tried to override, tried to regain control, but failed. Every attempt to act aggressively failed. Every command was disrupted by the human's subtle, invisible influence. For the humans on Orion Station, the scene was unbelievable. One vessel, piloted by a single human, had made the entire alien fleet comply without firing a single weapon. The scale of it was hard to grasp, the implications almost too vast to comprehend. Then, the pilot made a small gesture inside the cockpit, a tilt of the hand, almost imperceptible. Immediately, the alien fleet began a coordinated retreat. Not chaotic, not panicked, but careful, methodical. Ships backed away slowly, leaving a clear corridor through space. Elena exhaled slowly. "It's letting them go," she whispered. "They could destroy this fleet in minutes, and they're letting them leave." Ramos shook his head in disbelief. "One human, just one, and an entire alien armada obeys. This is beyond comprehension." The pilot's calm radiance seemed to settle over the fleet, sending a silent message: "We are not enemies, yet." The aliens obeyed because they had no choice, but also because they recognized something greater than fear or force. And in that moment, the galaxy understood: humans were no longer insignificant. One human, in one small vessel, had stopped an entire alien armada. One human had proven that strength could come in forms the universe could not yet measure. The stars around them were quiet, except for the steady pulse of the vessel. Calm, deliberate, unstoppable. And far across space, the alien fleet began retreating, leaving the human vessel and the colony untouched. History had been rewritten. One human had appeared, and the universe had listened. The alien fleet drifted backward, engines humming softly, shields lowered, weapons idle. The human vessel remained at the center, calm, its soft blue glow pulsing like a heartbeat. No one moved. No one dared. Even the stars seemed to hold their breath. Inside the alien flagship, the council was in chaos. Voices, harsh and metallic, vibrated in disbelief. "It is not a weapon," one hissed. "It is a human. And yet, it is everything we feared and more." Other aliens whispered among themselves. "Legends," they spoke of this. One human could control fleets. One human could change the course of war. We have seen it." Back on Orion Station, Elena leaned over the railing, her eyes fixed on the screen. Lieutenant Ramos stood beside her, shaking his head. "Captain, I don't think any of us can understand what we just saw. One human, one vessel, and the most powerful alien fleet obeys." Elena nodded slowly. "They obey because this human carries something the aliens respect and fear. Something we've hidden for centuries." Inside the human vessel, the pilot sat quietly, hands resting lightly on the controls. Their eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the ship's soft pulse. Calm, focused, and steady. No words. No threats. Yet the power they carried was undeniable. A soft hum filled the cockpit. It was not just the ship. It was the human, radiating a presence that stretched beyond technology, beyond weapons, beyond understanding. The pulse of authority, of command, spread through the fleet like invisible threads. Every alien ship moved in harmony, following an unseen rhythm. On Orion Station, scientists whispered among themselves. "Captain, I think we're seeing it. The secret humanity has protected for so long. The hidden strength no one believed we had." Ramos's eyes widened. "You mean, we've always been stronger than they thought?" Elena nodded. "Yes. Not in numbers. Not in sheer force. But in something else. Something the aliens can sense but cannot measure. One human can bend fear, respect, and obedience without firing a shot. One human can command presence, authority, and power no machine or weapon can match." Outside, the alien fleet slowly began to retreat, leaving the human vessel alone. No attack. No battle. Just a quiet acknowledgement, humans were not to be underestimated. Inside the pilot's cockpit, their hands moved slightly, sending a subtle signal. The alien ships adjusted their trajectory, moving away in perfect formation. It was not chaos. It was respect. It was understanding. They would not harm humanity, at least for now. Elena leaned back, exhaling slowly. They knew. They all knew. One human, and they obeyed. Not because of fear alone, but because they recognized strength, intelligence, something they could not fight. Ramos shook his head. Unbelievable. The stories were true. Legends of humans controlling the galaxy, and now we've seen it. The pilot's vessel hovered for a moment longer, calm and steady. Then, slowly, it turned and disappeared into the stars, leaving the alien fleet behind. The ships that had trembled under its presence now glided silently away, leaving nothing but a void in the darkness of space. Orion Station erupted in whispers and awe. Humans had witnessed history. One human had stopped an alien fleet without a single shot. One human had revealed the secret strength of humanity. And across the galaxy, the story would spread. One human. One small vessel. A presence that commanded the universe itself. Legends would be told, whispers would travel from system to system, and aliens would remember the day humanity proved it was no longer fragile. Elena turned to Ramos. "This is just the beginning. We've seen power we never understood. Humans, we've only scratched the surface of what we are capable of." Ramos nodded, eyes still fixed on the fading image of the lone vessel. "If one human can do this, imagine what the rest of us could do when the time comes." The stars around Orion Station were quiet again, but the universe had changed. A single human had appeared, and the galaxy had paused to watch. The vessel was gone from sight, but its impact remained. A legend had been born, a symbol of human potential, and a warning to anyone who might challenge humanity in the future. One human had shown what it meant to be truly powerful, not through numbers, weapons, or fear, but through presence, authority, and the strength that comes from knowing who you are. And somewhere, in the endless black of space, the lone human vessel moved on, calm, unstoppable, carrying humanity's secret and the promise of a future no one, not alien nor human, could yet predict. The galaxy had learned its lesson: never underestimate a human.